That's it. We are back for our first talk show of the year, and I'm so happy to have my coach back, Andres Ruiz. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Today, I'm not in Ecuador. I'm actually in France. So obviously, it's night for me, but for my guest, it's morning, isn't it? So
It is.
good
It
morning,
is.
Andres, and welcome back on Isabelle's talk show. I'm so happy to have you back and for this first talk show of the year, and as well to talk about a topic which I think is so valuable, especially at the beginning of the year, because we're going to talk about procrastination. So sometimes we can have a look at what we've done in 2022 or we haven't done and why, and what we're going to do in 2023. So welcome back, Andres. So before we start with that powerful topic, I would like to introduce you. So Andres lives in Tucson in the US. He likes to play football, tennis, building Legos and playing Roblox with his kids. He's a motivational speaker, life coach, radio host on The Voice, The Groove, and Urban Radio. He's the author of the book Morning Warrior Secrets del Sueño a Realidad, and the blueprint on how to turn goals into achievement. All books were #1 on Amazon. Andres has also been featured on CBS, NBC, and Fox. Andres has been speaking up about mental illness, mental health, and recovery for NAMISA for several years. He helps his clients, and I can vouch for that, by inspiring them to do what inspires them to make the world a better place. Another one of Andres's mission is to impact the lives of youth, to help them gain confidence and self-esteem, to believe in themselves and pursue their goals and dreams. So thank you, Andres, for being here. And today you're going to give us your secrets on how to overcome procrastination.
Yes, thank you, Isabelle. I appreciate you for the wonderful introduction, and thank you for having me here. I'm really excited, and I'm the first show that you're having on this year, so I'm really honored and excited to do this with you. And yeah, I mean, procrastination, that's something that I know a lot of people deal with. I mean, right now, people have already given up on their goals. This is by the third week, that goal that they had, which usually a lot of people set very vague goals that really excite them and motivate them. And I think that actually that's one of the first tips that I have for people, talking about having a clear goal that excites you, that you're excited to wake up, is extremely important. And I think that the reason why a lot of people procrastinate is because of clarity. They don't have clarity. They don't know where they're going. And I want to share a very powerful tool that I learned from a lot of great mentors called OPA. And it's outcome, purpose, action. So in order for us to have clarity of what it is exactly that we desire, we need to have an outcome. Like, how much weight do you want to lose? How much money do you want to make for the year? Where do you see your business going? That is extremely important. What is the outcome? So I want to ask you, the audience that's listening, what is an outcome that you desire to accomplish in the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And then once you have the outcome, the next one is purpose. So the next letter is P, purpose. And why do you want that goal? If you have a why, then nothing will stop you. And when we have a why and a reason why we want to accomplish this goal, then we're going to get to it. For example, I have some clients who have said, I want to lose 30 pounds. Why do you want to lose 30 pounds? Well, because I want to be healthier. Why do you want to be healthier? Well, because I want to make sure I'm there for my kids when I'm older. Okay, that's a very powerful why.
Yeah.
And why do you want to make $100,000? Oh, okay, you want to grow your business. You want to eventually buy that new Jeep Bronco or whatever it is. That's the why. That's the reason why. So I want to ask you, why do you want this goal that you just thought about? And then the final one is A, action. I mean, a lot of people, I hear them listening to things like The Secret, and they're saying, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. And then they just sit there and eat a sandwich. And then that's not going to work. It's not going to work. You need to take action. And a lot of people, what they do is they're waiting for the perfect time, but there's never going to be a perfect time. The perfect time is always going to be in this moment, because this moment is all we have. And in this moment is the only moment that you can really, truly take the action. But a lot of people say, I'll wait. I actually had somebody tell me one time, you know what, I'm going to wait till 2024. It wasn't even 2023 yet. And they were already thinking, let me wait till 2024. No, you need to take action, and take that imperfect action. I would rather go 1,000 miles in the wrong direction than going anywhere. Because when you're going in the wrong direction, you're going to learn from your mistakes. You're going to grow from your mistakes. And that's how you evolve. So that right there, it's very simple, so simple, but yet very powerful if you really think about it. When you know your outcome, when you know your why, it's going to be very easy to take the actions, because you're going to be motivated and inspired to make sure that you're taking action. Because the why, anytime you feel like you want to give up, the why will bring you back to the reason why you should be taking the action. And I mean, I just want to let people think about that right now. What is your why? What is your outcome that you desire? I think it's extremely important that we think about that. And
and we sit down and just make a list. I mean, that's what I say as well to my clients. It's just like, okay, why do you want to do that? Why is it so important now? And use, as you said, because I was listening to you, and the first thing which came was motivation. When you're not motivated, you procrastinate. When you don't believe in what you're doing, you actually procrastinate. Yes. So going back to basics and just think, okay, why do I want the outcome? Why do I want, I don't know, to be a pilot? Why do I want to lose weight? Start making a list. And sometimes, as we say, we get demotivated, and just go back to the list and just say, hey, yeah, I remember now why I wanted to do that. So let's do it.
Yes, let's do it. And if you're feeling demotivated and you don't feel like you can do this on your own, get a coach. Seriously, like, get a coach. And for myself personally, I struggled with getting a coach because I'll be honest, I just didn't want to waste money. I didn't want to spend money because I was thinking like, nah, I can do it myself. But then I procrastinated. I didn't take action for many years. And just think about how much money I lost by not taking the action. Yeah. And so that investment, it may seem like a lot, especially if it's the first time you ever invest. It may seem like a lot, but once you make the investment, it's not so much about the money really that you're going to be making. It's so much about the person that you become. And really, the success that we desire, it's not to be pursued, it's to be attracted by the person that we become. You see, when you become this person that is very confident, that is very knowledgeable, that has a lot of integrity, that believes in themselves, and you can see that, people are going to want to work with you. I've had a lot of people work with me because they're like, you know what, I need confidence. I need you to just be in my corner. Like right now, I'm coaching a therapist who, she just says, what I really need you for is I need accountability. I just can't keep my word to myself. I have a lot of greatness. She said, I'll do the work, but I just can't keep my word to myself. And when you can't keep your word to yourself, what it does, it reduces your self-esteem. It reduces your confidence. When it reduces your confidence and your self-esteem, you tap into little potential to no potential, which leads to little action to no action. That little action to no action, it ends up in little results to no results. And then your attitude, it turns into, I don't believe in myself. I can't do it. And then guess what? You'll tap into maybe no potential, and then you'll give up. And then you say, this doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work because you gave up. You gave up when you were just about to, like, I like this picture where there's like a mine digger that he's hitting, and the gold is like one hit away, and he gives up. And it's like, you are just one slash away from hitting that gold, and you are giving up too fast. And you have to also understand that it's a process, and you have to love the process that you're going through right now. enjoy the process, know that it's part of the journey, embrace it, and then you won't get stuck. You'll continue moving forward. But this is why it's important that you get a coach. If you're a person that can't keep your word to yourself, you need to get a coach immediately, because I know for myself, I mean, I just had my coaching session this morning. Whew, I'll be honest. This weekend, I was stressing out. I almost had a panic attack. That's how bad it got. I'll keep it real with you guys. I'm not going to BS you. I was really having some challenges. And then I had my call. I had a coaching call with, somebody that I really trust. And I just talked through it. And I feel so much better. I was telling Isabelle and that I was stressing out this morning, honestly. I'll keep it real with you. I'm not going to tell you that, hey, because I'm a motivational speaker, I am perfect. No, I have challenges. I argue with my wife.
We are humans, you and
Yes.
I, everybody, and that's the thing as well. We need to be compassionate. But some people procrastinate because they're afraid. They are afraid of taking the plunge, or afraid of not being good enough, as we were saying, self-esteem, low self-esteem. So how would you do? I know some people will say, well, having a coach, I'm not sure, but what do you think? Is there anything we can do? I mean, for me, it's different, because when I feel fear, and I know you told me something like a phrase, dance with the fear. And that's why I always think about you. And I always say, hey, come on, dance with me, fear. I'm driving, right?
Yes.
And but some people don't do that. And for me, it's different. I'm thinking, okay, if I'm afraid, that's where I have to go. That's where I'm going to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, there's three fears that I come into, that I run into with my clients all the time. And it's always the same three fears. The first one is the fear of what will people think or say about me. That's a huge one. That's one that I dealt with for many years. What will they think? What will they say? Like when I started doing stand-up comedy, I would have people, oh, look at him. He wants to be the next G-Lo and George Lopez. And I'm like, man, that's mean. Like, or they would tell me, oh, he wants to be on Sábado Gigante. You remember, I think you remember Sábado Gigante. And they would make fun of me. And then I would be like, oh my God, am I making a fool out of myself? Should I just give up? Should I just quit? And then I remember one time I was at the comedy club, and there was this gentleman right behind me. His name was Fred. I still remember his name. And he had a big hat on his head that said, happy 70th birthday. And then I turned to him and I said, hey, Fred, how you doing? And we talked, and he said, hey, Fred, how long have you been doing stand-up comedy for? And he looked at me and said, this is actually the first night I'm ever doing stand-up comedy. I'm ever going to do stand-up comedy. He said, wow, cool. And so he went up on stage and he did really well. He did amazing. And then he got off, and then I told him, hey, Fred, like, how did it feel to do stand-up comedy? And then he said, you know what? I have a lot of money. I've traveled a lot of places. I've done so many things in my life, but I feel like I finally did what I've always wanted to do my whole life. And I was like, whoa, 70 years old. And I'm over here like 30 years old, thinking to myself that I'm too old for this, so I'm ridiculous. That was like, whoa, that was like, you'll get in life some mentors, unexpected mentors. That was like a mentor that I was like, I mean, I never saw him after that, but to this day, I still remember him. And I said, if Fred at 70 years old finally followed his goals and dreams, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to continue moving forward. And that helped me to continue move forward. And then that's when I got into motivational speaking, coaching. But had it not been for these mentors, these angels that were put in my path, I don't think I would be here, So I give credit to the little mentors, like, who were actually big mentors, if you really think about it, because I was at that moment digging, and I was about to just give up. But then I had these mentors, 70-year-old man that I never saw just once in my life. And now it's like, you know what? They can say whatever they want. I'm going to continue moving forward. And that's okay. And so that's one of the fears that a lot of people deal with. And you have to understand that the people who criticize you, they do it out of love. Or sometimes they do it out of jealousy. I don't know. It could be a lot of things. But at the end of the day, they are not in the arena. They don't understand you. This is why you need to get a coach. This is why you need people who actually are in the arena, not the bleachers. Yeah. People are in the bleachers. 95, 97% of people will be in the bleachers. You're in the 3%. You need to be around people who are in the 3%. So it's very important that we don't allow others' opinions of us to paralyze us. We cannot allow other opinions of other people to be our reality, because the only real reality that truly matters is your own. So you have to be very aware of these people who they love you, or sometimes they do want to bring you down. But I surround myself with nothing but amazing, powerful people who are in the arena. They are not in the bleachers, they're in the show. And that's why it's important that you surround yourself with these positive people that will build you up. And so that's one of the fears that I see a lot of clients face. And the other two are the fear of failure and the fear of success. Fear of failure is a big one, you know? And then when we put together fear of failure and fear of success, they're kind of the same, because really what people are fearing a lot of times is responsibility. The fear of responsibility to, whoa, am I really fearing success? Because I used to say that I fear success. No, what I fear is responsibility, commitment. Are you committed? And so you have to be very aware of this fear of failure. Like, you're scared of losing something. You're scared of losing your identity. You're scared of losing people. You're scared of losing your money. You're scared, but if you continue to stay in that scared mode, then you'll never be able to move forward. So you have to take action, even if you don't feel like, you know, it's going to work out. Even if you don't feel worthy, you take action anyway, because through the action is where you will gain your worthiness. Because you'll say, wow, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I agree.
Goodness. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's why. So be very aware of those fears, and don't allow fear, which is really the false evidence of appearing real, to stop you and paralyze you from taking action, because fear is not real. It's just an illusion you created in your mind. Just an illusion.
And it's a way as well to build walls around you. And so you can't see what's behind it. And if you actually just destroy that wall, you've got a better vision and a better clarity, as we were saying before, to make decisions and take the plunge or adjust. And anyway, if we make mistake along the way, we can always adjust. And that's what people sometimes just like, yeah, but I said I would do that. Who said you can't change your mind? So
yes,
don't stay in that space where people have an opinion, as you were saying, on what you are doing. You are the only captain of your boat.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, fear can be like a reason for procrastination as well. Some people, and that's something I was really surprised about, who would procrastinate for perfection. It's never good enough. They always want to do more and more. And at the end, they don't perform, or they don't deliver what they're supposed to do, because they always feel that it's not good enough.
Yeah.
So
the feeling not good enough is very powerful, and a lot of people, that's what they feel. They feel like they're not good enough, and it was really because of an experience that they had in their past. You know, like I remember this one client that, you know, she wanted to do public speaking, and she remembers I asked her, why do you have so much fear around public speaking? I mean, you're well spoken, you do very well. And then we talked a little bit more, and it went back to when she was 12 years old. So when she was 12 years old, she had a young boy in her class give a presentation, and as he was giving the presentation, he had a seizure. And so when he had a seizure, I mean, they're 12-year-old kids. Some of the girls were laughing, and they were like, oh my God, like, you know, they were laughing at the kid. And she was like, she was paralyzed from that day on. And now she, you know, she's 49. And to this day, that still haunts her. And she says, wow, ever since that day, I never gave a presentation. I even got an F on a presentation because I didn't want to go up there, because I was worried, what if that happened to me? And what if they laughed at me? And so you have to really think about the reason why we're struggling with, you know, like this challenge is because of something that happened to us in the past. So I want everybody to just think about a moment in your life that happened, something that might have struck fear in you, or maybe something that somebody said to you that struck fear in you, and really ask yourself, am I still that person? Because I asked her, are you still that person? She said, no. Okay, well, who would you be without that thought? And she said, well, I'd be confident, I would be courageous, I would be doing it. And I said, okay, well, turn it around. You got this. And that's how powerful, this is how powerful our thoughts are. And that's why we have to be very aware of the way that we think, because the way we think creates the way we feel, the feeling creates the action, and then that gives us the results. So what are you thinking about when it comes to your goals and your dreams? What are you thinking about that is causing you to procrastinate? Because really, that thought that you've been holding on for maybe weeks, months, years, decades is what has been paralyzing you from moving forward. It's what it has been keeping you the same person. And that's what a lot of people, they stay stuck being the same person. I have an aunt, ever since I was a little kid, she would say, I'm just an angry person. I just can't change. 30 years later, guess what she's saying? I'm just an angry person. I can't change. And I say, wow, you're absolutely right. I thought to myself, wow, she's absolutely right. She has been speaking the same mantra for, I don't know, God, maybe more than 30 years, you know? And so we have been speaking a mantra that has been causing us to procrastinate for many years. We have been telling ourselves the same story, the same lie that is not true. And unconsciously, we don't say it out loud. We think it. And what we think is what you become. So what are you thinking about? What is your story? I really want you to take a moment to just sit with, what is your story that is limiting you from taking action? And it's just the story. And if you really think about it, it's a story from when you were 7. It's a story from when you were 12, 16. It's an old story. If you continue to, I mean, you would not continue to watch the same terrible movie over and over again. I don't think anybody would, if you watch, I don't think about the most terrible movie you've ever seen. You would not continue to watch it every single day, but we replay those negative thoughts, those bad thoughts over and over each and every day. Why do we do that? We have to be very aware of that. And I think the first step is awareness. Once you're aware of it, now it's a choice. Are you going to continue? You have to switch it. You have to flip it. And it's not easy, but it's doable because you have to do it over time. It's common sense, but not common practice. A lot of people would think it can't be that easy. That's why a lot of people are very skeptical too. They're like, it can't be that easy. Well, it really is that easy. It's just that you don't do it. But you just got to do it.
Yeah, just shift the thought and turn it around so it becomes positive instead of all the negative, because we stay in that negative space and it's like self-sabotage.
Yes, self-sabotage is, and self-sabotage, I want to give some of you a tip about self-sabotage. So I have, and because self-sabotage is procrastination, really. I mean, all these things that we're talking about, they may not be, they are tips to help you overcome procrastination. And self-sabotage, that's a big one. And this is one that I have my clients deal with a lot. And I want to give you a very simple, but yet extremely powerful tool that I use myself as well. My clients do. All the stuff that I'm telling you, I use it, my clients use it, but I call it the judge. So we all have a judge in us that is constantly telling us, who do you think you are? Oh, you can't do that. And really, it's probably not even your voice. It's probably your mother's voice, your father's voice, your cousin's voice. It's not even your voice. It's like that voice saying, why would you do that? Like I have a client that she's a lawyer, and then, she wants to become a life coach. And then her parents are like, what? I'm not going to say the words that they said, but what is a life coach? That's what they said. And why would you be a life coach? We're a family of lawyers. You have a secure job. Why would you leave your job for a life coach? Like, you don't even, what is a life coach? And she said, you know what? Nobody's ever supported me in my dreams. My parents are lawyers. I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer over a decade. I hate it. I don't want to do it anymore. But she kept doing it because of the people pleaser. People pleasing is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
We want to make other people happy at the expense of our happiness. Can't do that. So this judge is, I tell everybody, name your judge. And I won't say some of the names because some of the names are not very appropriate to be saying, but you can imagine some of the names that they call them. And let's call one, I'm gonna call one, they call her, let's call her Betsy. It's really not Betsy. You can think about a word that might not be appropriate, but let's say Betsy is the judge. And then my client, the judge will show up and say, don't do that. You're not good enough. This and that. And she says, Betsy, please, like, not today. Like, just and they shut it up and they say, okay, what thought actually serves me? I'm not saying you have to be Pollyanna and be like, I'm happy. No. You have to be like, hey, this thought is not true. Be quiet. Like, you're not real. Like, this is not true. I am good enough. Change the thought. You know what? I can't do this. So whenever the judge shows up, you just say, oh, there you are, the judge. There, I see you. I know you're trying to sabotage me. And you talk to him or her, you eliminate him. I mean, it may sound like to some people like, oh my God, that sounds crazy. No, but we are constantly talking to ourselves internally. Let's keep it real. Let's be honest. You know, we all have our thoughts, and a lot of them are negative. I'd say like 75% of our thoughts are negative, and we think 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. So imagine if about 40,000 to 50,000 thoughts are negative, how are you ever going to be positive? How are you ever going to be motivated? That's why you have to catch it. So name your judge. What's your judge's name? What do you want to name your judge? So whenever it shows up and it taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, Isabelle, hey, what are you trying to do? Who do you think you are? Hey, bad Isabelle. Not today.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I just say to my judge or my inner critic, I just say, thank you for your opinion, but that's your opinion. So I'm compassionate with myself, but I'm just like, okay, thank you for your opinion, but you know what? I disagree, and I'm not going to listen to you.
I love it. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
So, well, yeah. So just to wrap it up, Andres. So first, O for, I can't remember now. P for purpose, A for action, and O for
outcome. So outcome.
That's right.
Outcome, purpose, action. OPA.
Right. So, and yes, and when we get demotivated, we go back to our whys and just make sure that we go back to the essence of the project, why we wanted to do it, and so to get back on track. So thank you very much, Andres. And I know you've got some good news for us. Come on, tell us.
Yeah. So, thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it. So this coming Monday, January 30th, I will be releasing my new book. It's called Do It Now, Secrets to Overcome Procrastination. And this is a short read. It's very short, like 80 pages long, but it has a lot of very powerful content to help you overcome procrastination. I gave you some of the content today. You know, I want to give as much content as I can. And you can go get it at Amazon for 99 cents on Kindle for one day. I'm going to be selling it for $1 on Kindle, January 30th. If you want to get your copy, please send me a message at ibelievecal@gmail.com, or you can send me a DM on Facebook, Andres Ruiz. Friend me. I would love to have you as a friend. And I would love to send you the link on the 30th so that you can get your copy for $1 that will help you overcome procrastination and get stuff done.
Great, Andres. Well, I've put your email address in the description of this live, so people can contact you directly. And thank you ever so much, Andres. So next week I will be back in Ecuador. My guest will be Tiffany Green, and we're going to talk about coaching, because I know, Andres, you advised us to get a coach. And I know some people get a bit confused about coaching, between coaching, mentoring, psychotherapy. So Tiffany is going to give us all the information about what coaching is. And if you've already missed the last year's talk show, don't worry, just tune in, check my YouTube channel, Phoenix Coaching and Training. Click on that little notification and on the bell so you get all the information. And so you won't miss any more. So see you next week. Thank you again, Andres. Come back anytime. And audience, see you next week in Ecuador.
Bye.